As we get into it, I wanted to ask you, how has UG been so far for you? Is it overwhelming? How has it been ever since you came back?
The only overwhelming bit I felt was yesterday. I was taking my son to his playgroup, or the playgroup away, Kololo.
Yeah.
And actually, he was also overwhelmed because I don't think he had seen that many kids with that much energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
American kids are usually like very protected. Babela Mushel. And this time, namusudde mu banne. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, Gatamanyi wa could dad. It's like really young. So it took time a little bit. He was overwhelmed. Nalyo kaddayo n'abalagana energy jalina.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah.
So coming back, wali wao ku bypass. There's a place on the bypass which they are not bypass actually. Mukwano. Mukwano coming up to Muyenga. There's that route where they're constructing. So there was a time I was stuck there for about 45 minutes to an hour because there was a truck on one side pouring sand, in the other, borders are filled up, filling every crevice. The cars the other side can't come, and then these other cars this other side can't go, and there's no one there to regulate the flow. So I'm stuck in the middle of that. And in the middle of that, somebody is like, Baboon Forest! Chitauka.
It just became worse.
So it just became worse because people on borders wanted to see, and so we spent more time there. I kind of felt overwhelmed in that moment, in that situation. But then again, greatness meets greatness. So my people are great. I'm great. We had a great time.
So should we say American is conflicting with Ugandan? The vibes are,
I should say salty water is meeting fresh water.
Okay.
You get me? And then we have to gel again, basically. Yeah. To me, the whole coming experience back home, there are several things that are different. There are several things that I wish were better. There are several things that I'm glad are here and we miss when we are over there. So it's so novel, basically, with very many pages to unveil. Some of those things I believe have the power to change. Others, other people have to change. Others, we as a community have to come together to be impactful about or cognizant of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have Ugandans been asking you for money?
Of course. The culture in America is you have to work for every dollar. Nobody is going to give you free money. While in Uganda, it's mpaku sente. Ng'oluddeyo, olabika bulungi, mpaku sente. Sente ziliruddawa. And you're like, if you were to come to me and tell me, Guy Wange, I can do A, B, C, and D to help you or your company, I'll be like, of course, my G, jangu tuchogereko. You deserve the money. But the stuff of empire, and it actually just takes me back to the early days of my career, where people would just say, mpaku sente, and I'll just pull out money and give to them. But now, America has spoiled to me to the extent that much as I give out money, now I give out to organizations.
Yeah.
I give out to organized groups, charity group, egenda kulabirira baana. Wano onalabirira abantu bali mu ddwaliro batalinako ba relatives baabwe. But a person with 2 legs, 2 arms coming to me asking for money. Nowadays I think twice because we in our job as entertainers, somebody explained it to me. When I give you 10,000, right?
Yeah.
Zilera dollar nga mmeka. So kubisemu math awo. Kati bali dollar nga $3
Yeah.
That means I've taken away $4 from my retirement money. Because there's no retirement for me. And there's no insurance for me. So if I were to take that $4, right, and buy a stock and forget about that money, in about 10 years, 15 years, when I'm fully retired or 20, guess how much that money would have produced?
Yeah, it would be a lot.
So somebody put it for me in that context. But before, I used to get off stage and someone would say, so-and-so is sick, I would give them $1 million. So-and-so is this to wear your beer, I would buy around. But now it's totally different. And maybe because I also have many responsibilities.
Yeah.
And there's also the quote, Egamba, the giver has to set limits because the takers don't have any. So you really have to, And I used to see it with basketball players, and I'm like, this guy is being mean. But when you put it into context, when these people retire and they are broke, the same people they were giving money are the same people that laugh at them.
Yeah, that's for sure.
NSSF, yeah? So, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, following that whole situation, how do you stay true to your artistic vision while also adapting to industry trends?
My artistic vision is always uncompromised because it's always more defined, getting more defined, right? And refined. Actually, refined is the word. That I believe I refine it through every stage of my life. The way I was thinking when I first gave you KOYIKOYI at 18 years old is not the way I'm thinking right now. The experiences are different. The way I approach art is different. There's much more of a business aspect to it. Whereas hip-hop, for hip-hop, even from the get-go, it's a business. Like, I used to sell my CDs in a bar. It's business from the get-go, but now it's more of macro business and how can I scale. That's how I'm thinking about the art, which is kind of like, it's amazing for me as a person and my community, but then sometimes you delve so much into these things that require meetings that you're spending less time in the studio. Yeah. So it's the Jay-Z effect. If Jay-Z were to be spending more time in the studio than in the boardroom, I guess you'd have more J records. But now he's doing work with the NFL, he's doing work for his Carter Foundation with the justice reform. You get to realize that the older you grow, the more responsibilities you have, and the art kind of suffers. Yeah. But whenever you drop, it's a major drop, so which also makes it more potent because you're saying something. Yeah.
So we see a lot of Ugandan artists attaching themselves to, when it comes to politics and everything, and they're getting positions and all that. But it's not the same case with our hip-hop artists in Uganda. And we are the ones who advocate for change in society and everything. Don't you think it's important that they also seek to take up these positions so that they're able to have resources to engage in society needs and the projects that they are trying to do? Because each time they come up with a project, they usually don't get funding because the guys in positions don't seem to really understand how impactful that is.
I think the approaches are really different from other genres and hip-hop. Yeah. Hip-hop is mainly a grassroots movement. It's not a trickle-down effect. Yeah. It works for other people and other genres where funds come from the top, funded by either the ministry or NGOs that put in the money, right? Yeah. But for hip-hop, it's always been a grassroots movement. That means I have to look at, instead of networking up, we always network when okulevo yafe. Yeah. And then you begin rising like that. So when I'm looking for a project plan, I'm going to look at one of the guys who is hip-hop, who does projects. And that's what I'm going to be looking at. So for us, I think our sustenance comes from each other instead of waiting for the handout. Yeah. It's just a difference of approach and opinion. Yeah.
Do you think there is interest to make awareness that these programs are taking place, or it's just like the way people say that hip-hop artists play music for only their friends? They don't really put it out there.
That's not true, because that was the case before people like Zamba came through in the market. Yeah. You find that whenever we've interacted with the government, because it's inevitable, the bigger you are, it's inevitable to cross paths with the government and all people in places of leadership, right? Yeah. So with us, it has always had a humanistic service point where we find that we are useful or impactful. Yeah. So for example, we worked with the Ministry of Health to create Story Aluka and further its message. Yeah. I mean, we created the song, then Ministry of Health jumped on it, and we did a nationwide campaign. That was about sensitizing the youth against stigma and also condom use and guarding themselves against sexually transmitted diseases, finding ways, basically. Yeah. So wherever we've interacted with people, it's either how can we change? It's behavior change communication for us. Yeah. It's education. It's not give me money and I buy a big car. For us, it has always been, how can my voice articulate the message to the people?
Yeah.
And because we are always so close to the people, we know the language, and because we are poets, we know how to craft the message so that it's not boring but entertaining and easily disseminated to the population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a time, I think it was an event called Blankets and Wine, where they brought Casper Nyovest from South Africa. And you came out and you're like, yo, aren't there any hip hop artists in Uganda that could have. Yeah, so this time around, again, there is another festival and they are bringing, this time a Jamaican. I don't know if it's a Jamaican, since it's not hip hop, it doesn't concern you or matter. But was it a general concern for the Ugandan music industry, or it was just for you speaking for hip hop? Because this time
I have to be very careful with the way I word it. First, finish the question.
Yeah. So this time there is an event happening on 14th December at Cricket Oval. I may not mention the details and the specifications. Yeah, but they are bringing a Jamaican guy this time. And is there a lack of trust with our artists here, or the capacity is not there for them to really, affect or effect that star track?
I mean, shout outs to Blankets and Wine, first of all, for being a place for gathering and celebrating good music.
Yeah.
Few festivals make it stand the test of time in terms of quality and what they're delivering. I haven't been to any Blankets and Wine, I have to admit. I've never been to any Blankets and Wine, but I always see the pictures, and people seem to have a good time. I did a project with one of the ladies, I think, who was part of the founders, called Muthoni, the drama queen.
Yeah.
And I happened to meet her in Ethiopia, I also met her in Kenya, but I've never been a part of the platform.
Yeah.
That said, they have been celebrating music for, I think it's over a decade now, right? And with all of these works, I think with every festival, for me it's not a criticism, but it's how can I point it out that your role also, besides entertaining, is to make sure that you grow the local talent or give the local talent opportunities. So for a person like me who has not been in Uganda, when I look at a lineup and it has Casper Nyovest and local talent, you would expect that the person who curated that event did a Casper Nyovest, but also several. It was like an opportunity for us to have a hip-hop moment that was missed. But I think, and in this discussion, actually, I was speaking to someone yesterday, and I said, it's you guys who know hip-hop, who are close to hip-hop, that are not speaking about it well in the boardrooms.
Yeah,
Like you clearly see its power and its influence. I was telling him, you dress hip-hop, right? You don't consider yourself hip-hop, but you dress hip-hop. You talk hip-hop. You bought that car you're driving and pimped it out because you saw Exhibit and them trying to do. All of that is hip-hop. For me, from the fashion to the language to the slang and how people communicate is all hip-hop. But when it comes to these people talking about the influence of hip-hop, they kind of develop convenient amnesia, right? And say, and go back to the default of, Anti-Waneno hip-hop. But I've seen some good hip-hop products come out of this country. So I wasn't around, but I was happy when I saw Trizzy. Yeah, but if a lineup had Casper, Trizzy, and like 4 good acts of hip-hop, it changes the whole narrative. Naye abantu bali obwongo bulimu looko. Kati looko eyo tutekwe giteekamu girisi, cleanse the whole system, puliziddemu okutambula. Naye obwongo bwatalaga on hip-hop. And yet it's the most powerful genre. Like, just watch and observe. The thing is that most people look, but they don't observe. Like, they see it changing, but if you have a fresh kid, a Felista, a GNL, and like all these other names participating in the industry, the Fefe Busses and what's his name? Tewepima Nange guy? Like just look at the songs that I've mentioned and look at the generations. Tell me any other genre with that kind of pedigree. Ochiraba? Yeah, so here we are. So whether you want it or not, it's a hip-hop nation that is the generation Zamba next.
So
inevitable.
So we could say that they just don't make them the main act. Does that show how much they don't really believe? To
their defense, the main acts are few. Zamba could headline that. instead of a Caspanyo vest.
Yeah, sure.
You get me? Because the catalog is there. But
Yeah.
some rappers like clearly haven't really grown to that.
Yeah.
And then some people have the songs, but abantu bayimbako chorus or car and they are bored for the rest of the tracks. But it's very few artists that have the catalog where from the moment they step on stage, the crowd still wants more and wants an encore. So I also don't blame them in that regard. So bring an international act, but make sure that we have several other acts in Gatano, is the local, enungi, right?
Yeah.
That's how we grow local talent. I say that sometimes there's a little bit of self-hatred that comes in when it's either an inferiority complex that is mixed with a little bit of self-hatred towards local talent, that abantu pale was a chili local chiba chibi. Yet in Kenya, a chili local chakabi, a chili international chakabi, we're good.
Yeah.
But I don't know why here to never cleansing our consciousness of that.
Yeah. Well, crossing over, you heard about Liam Payne, who was part of the One Direction, who died. He fell, from a balcony. So the prosecutors' office,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, so the prosecutor's office said Liam Payne was not fully conscious or was experiencing a state of noticeable decrease or loss of consciousness at the time of the fall, and I think 3 people were being charged for his death because they say they were aware, they could see that he wasn't conscious. Well, and we've seen situations here as well, because this has to do with let's say mental illness and stuff like that, depression and stress. And here we've seemed to underlook when an artist comes out and is like, I'm going through this, or even the people around them seeing that.
So your assumption is that he jumped and he didn't fall?
No, he jumped and fell and he died.
So jumping is different from he slipped and fell.
They're using fall. He fell off the balcony. Yeah. Okay. Jumping, probably I decided to jump. Maybe he committed suicide in that sense. But talking about, because they mentioned consciousness, he was
Being unconscious.
Yes. He was losing his conscience.
Over a period of what time did they notice that?
I think at that very...
I'm Colombo now.
Probably at that very moment, when he was spiraling, and you can tell that somebody is kind of losing their conscience. They're losing their mind. They're about to do something, that is not right. Well, probably it's like somebody who could be drunk.
If that is the argument of the prosecutor, it's a very weak argument.
Because
if I'm intoxicated and you're intoxicated, how am I supposed to know that you've lost your whatever? You get me? Huh?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know that? But
so I was asking you
if the argument is about mental health.
Yeah.
It is something I don't even want to take lightly at all.
Yeah.
Because it's almost designed that the industry or community only thinks that mental health affects... They only look at mental health in the spectrum of where it's at extreme, where a person needs a psychiatrist. While you have a psychologist, then there is when people need a psychiatrist. Those are 2 different scenarios. Omulalu akuba amayinja, psychiatrist. Depression, bichi, psychologist. You get me? But whatever emotional imbalance, right, in any of those, right, that leads to that. Or people dealing with traumas is really heaped on. Yeah. And sometimes even, by the way, even quitting things without medical, because I'm saying this because in the industry, without drugs and engineer, but even trying to quit on your own, without medical help, because if they are like strong drugs, you might experience some withdrawal symptoms that are really severe. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I say all of this to say that such a situation, I think it's too early to tell which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
If he fell, it could have been an accident.
Yeah.
Was he pushed?
Yeah.
Or was he depressed and it was a form of suicide? Or was it just feeling anxious? Like we said in the beginning about people being overwhelmed. There's some people who have crowd anxiety or social anxiety. So there's so many issues at play here that I just don't want to assume that what was going on until we have more details.
Yeah, because I asked you about that because we have people here, most especially artists, that are not given that attention when they come out, and even the people around them. Because you meet...
What here really gets any attention? Like, read on me that.
Well, a lot of things don't get attention, but speaking...
what I'm saying is that here, many things don't get attention. So you should add it to the list of things that don't get attention.
But here we are speaking about artists.
Because when I look at Miala, the streams that lead to the lake where we all get our fish, where we all get our water that we consume in this very big city, it's the people themselves that are contaminating the streams, right? And there is a need to educate not only about mental health, but basically the whole society about their responsibility to their community. Because if you take the Kasasiro and the Kavera and you just dump it in the stream, if it gets blocked, or if those plastics are broken down into microplastics and they end up in the lake, that's how you end up with cancer down the road. It's the same water that you're using. So whether it's educating people about mental health, right? And having therapists and, you know, the whole system just needs a little bit of education on so many issues, on so many angles. And this is where, again, it comes to the duty of the musicians, because it's not government alone. It's the musicians. What's the role of the musicians? To notice such things and put it in a song. But is anyone putting any of these issues that are affecting the artists about us into a song? When was the last time you had a song about mental health in Uganda? I'm seeing people dancing. I'm seeing people, every TikTok challenge, everyone is dancing. But I haven't heard someone talk about depression.
Because the ones who are supposed to make the music...
Because
the ones who are supposed to make the music...
But the thing is, to be an artist, like a hip-hop artist, is to observe something like that. Then you draw a picture and say, I will not do what everybody is doing. I'm going to choose different and address this issue my way. But poets can also do the same. People that paint can do the same. Dancers can do the same. It's the role of the artist, actually, to save society.
And
to guide politicians, basically.
I guess you answered that well in a general aspect. So that question was actually a follow-up to what happened to the legend who was a close friend to you. That is Moses Radio. May his soul rest in peace. When Moses Radio passed, and where did that news find you? Because we all know, like, you're close friends, you did tracks together. Were you talking to him at that time? Like, what was the whole situation around your relationship with him?
I think when I saw the post when they were at hospital, it was like I somehow knew that he passed on before the public got to know without anyone even saying it. It's like there's some things that don't add up. When someone has passed away, like usually see the flow of information if someone is doing well, but here it was, let's call so and so, 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 gunda ngambye bwekiti, gunta ngambye bwekiti, byoli bya ngambye nono tebigambye tebikwatagana. So there was a post that one person from that circle put out, and I somehow instinctively knew that the situation was really dire, or that Moses had passed away. Without even them saying what they were saying. But it's such an unfortunate situation that a person with so much potential who had not even begun scratching the surface of what he could do was taken away from us. I received that news when I was in LA, and I was so far away from here. I think up to now, every time that I fly back, I even you asking me that question, I still have to deal with it. Yes, because we had a lot of unfinished business too. I had tried to separate Baboon Forest from Good Life. I think business-wise, right? We were two different entities, but in terms of our love for music, and I think Moses also was trying to separate his angel music from what he was doing with his brother. Rightfully so, not because there's no love there, but just because in terms of business and the way that you conduct certain things and the way certain brands move is kind of different. You want a degree of separation. So by the time Moses passed away, I wasn't as privy to the information, as much information as I would have wanted to be privy to.
Yeah.
We would only call each other and joke and laugh about silly things, but it wasn't mainly about, hey, what are you going through, or whatever. And because the distance is also so far apart, sometimes I'll be talking to him and he's in Europe, and you're only talking about, hey, then he hands over a phone to somebody that we met when we were together, or someone that we know in common. But yeah, it's regrettable that we didn't get, our conversations after I'd moved away were not as deep, or time would not allow us, and, you know, everybody's schedule was different. But that's my brother for life.
Yeah. Did you have any music with him that is unreleased, or did you have plans to do music together?
I can't say because it's still a very complicated situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, moving on to the Grammys.
Yes.
Last year's Grammys were dominated by the female artists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
This year's Grammys as well, female artists.
Yes.
What's your view about that? Are the females doing more work than the male artists?
To be honest with you, I listen to more I listen to more male artists, right?
Yeah.
If the radio is playing and I'm at a party, definitely there's more male artists I'm listening to.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to my special moments or whatever, I'm bumping more female music. Actually, I'll unashamedly say I'm listening to more female R&B than I'm listening to male hip-hop or Afrobeats.
Yeah.
Like Thames' album, fire. Tyler's album, fire. Sabrina Carpenter, fire. What's her name? Rhapsody, the album, fire. Sampa the Great, fire. Whatever, what's the girl's name from Sim's album, fire. The males, all I hear is my chain, my girl, my car. Like, I know the script already, what you're going to talk about. But here's a girl, Summer Walker is talking about 3 dudes, you know, like some complicated shit, you know?
Yeah.
About emotions, basically. We need to bring back some more emotional music to, I think, the male space.
Well, Beyonce is leading this year's
Even
female.
Glorilla is doing her thing.
Beyonce is leading. Is that surprising to you?
It's not
She has
surprising.
11 nominations.
It's not surprising that Beyonce... Actually, people hate on Beyonce, but I love Beyonce. I love Beyonce's music. And I even love her more, even more than her music. I love that she knows what's going to happen before it actually happens.
Yeah.
Like, she's a queen in her own right. Like, Beyonce knows that the whole agenda in the industry right now is to try to kill hip-hop. She knows that. So she knows, she's like, what's the next move that's coming next? They're promoting country music. Okay, I'm going to give you Playboy Carter. And how are you going to say that I cannot play country music when I'm from Texas? Or she's like, hey, even there, I'll find you and beat you from there. So they denied her the country music Grammy because racism.
Yeah.
But she deserves the Grammy. Like, the album is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, thinking out the box, giving her fans, like, something new each and every time. She's a queen, man. She's representing. Like, she's a problem. She's a problem they have to deal with, whether they like it or not, because the creativity is way up here.
Well, in the same line, a follow-up question would come through as, what do you think about the female hip-hop artists in Uganda? Do they have... Okay, you could say they have potential, but over time, have they really put in the work that they need to represent female hip-hop artists in Uganda?
I think this space that is the Ugandan music terror dome, I call it a terror dome because people compete even when there's no reason to compete. You're both broke. So what are you competing about? So in that kind of space, and it's not to say that women can't compete.
Yeah.
But the men compete to a certain level where it leaves very little space for the women to actually have a voice.
Yeah.
And that has created kind of a vacuum, right? Not to say that you can even feel it, like we're missing a female voice in hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Um,
KOYIKOYI is back.
KOYIKOYI is back. She hasn't put out an album, so I'm saying again, it's missing.
Yeah.
It's still missing because her presence and that dominance is not yet where it was. So, and it's not to say that it can't be there, but we are waiting for that project. Rachel Ray represents. I like Rachel Ray. She represents, does her thing, but we don't have that cohesive project yet. Tendaba kutoka, or the Rachel Ray concert nayo tendaba kuja.
Is it in the line of hip hop though?
That's a question you can also ask Nicki Minaj, because Starships Are Meant to Fly is not a hip hop record.
Yeah, but I think Nicki has balanced very well the two, with the commercial side of but when it comes to hip hop, she will address you. She has addressed dudes.
So maybe if we take Nicki Minaj's experience, she's almost 40, right?
Yeah.
And how old are these female artists? They are young, so give them time to grow. Like I've always been an advocate of. I'm not one of these usual critics on your TVs who have failed to make a hit for themselves, but also suffocate. They suffocate all the younger artists when they are trying to experiment and find their steps. Like, we should give people time to find their feet.
Well,
and grow as artists.
KOYIKOYI in an interview was like, she came back and it's too much. It's a little bit, it's hard to catch up with the Ugandan vibe right now. There is too much to be up on and about. And it seems to be affecting how she's supposed to navigate through the whole thing. But I asked you earlier, and you also mentioned the challenges you're facing when you came back to UG. So what advice would you give her?
My challenge has been that the beat is fast for me. I don't get it. That question is really vague to me. Have I ever told you that there's a challenge for me getting back in this industry?
No, I'm talking about you getting back to Uganda, because she said in Uganda there is a lot going on. It's hard to
Uganda seems like I've always told you. Uganda seems like there's a lot going on, but there's very little going on. I always give you the example of a Mesedukira mu laboratory on a wheel, right? Like it's like you're moving, you're busy, but you're not moving anywhere. You're on a wheel. A message dukira kahwilako. Have you ever seen a white laboratory? Go Google. Get on YouTube or a laboratory a dukira ko wheel. So it looks like there's something going on, but there's really nothing going on for real. There's no innovation. So, and I hate that you're asking me all these questions in a way. You're making me discuss personalities instead of discussing ideas. I'm a man who loves discussing ideas and concepts instead of personalities. So let's take the personalities away, right, from this question. I do not think anything is hard in Uganda if you're innovative. The thing is that everybody tries to do what everybody else is doing. But if you can innovate and find your own lane and stick to that lane, there's no one standing in your way. I don't see any other GNL. Much as, will the real GNL please stand up? But there's no other GNL that can do GNL more than GNL. So GNL needs to be very comfortable in who they are. And I'm saying GNL, you can put any other artist's name in there to replace that. But in the GNL lane, there is no other GNL. GNL can only rise to be himself or a better version of himself. But if you go in the lane, right? Omuli kasasiro na katogo. Now we're not trying to call a kasasiro na katogo. Yes, it's going to become difficult for you. But a person like GNL is going to think, but there's a plane. Like, why are you here? You're an international artist. Clearly and evidently. Why can't you be local and global at the same time? You can be Ugandan but international. There's a Kenyan market to serve. There's a South African market, a Canadian market. Lwaki ffenna tubeera wano eno in this small terradome akatalina na ssente. I think we should expand and innovate. Have we done theater? Are there musicians that are doing theater? Because you can rise through that tour and have a production that could tour the whole world. No, fill the theaters with the production, create. Has anyone, like, I'm tired of thinking for you guys anyway. Can be called a mubikope.
What role do you think social media and streaming platforms play in an artist's success?
Say that again? The role that social media plays in an artist's
and
success?
Streaming platforms, what role do you think all that plays in an artist's success?
Depends on what type of artist you are. Because I know there are artists who paint pictures and they only work on commission basis. So that person does not need social media. If every time I paint a painting and it's already bought, I say I only paint paintings for 50 million. If I'm booked for the next 3 paintings, what do I need social media for? Or if I'm booked until, what about his Morgan and Logamba, his work, maybe says that in New York at the Gagosian, right? If their work, you even have to pay to come and watch it before they put it into private collections, that artist does not need social media. Actually, it's word of mouth, and it's if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Then there are people who need social media because the radio has refused to promote them and TV has refused to promote them, so their only avenue of promotion is social media. So they have to keep the algorithm busy and excited so that when they drop something, there is a hope that will either get booked off of what they are promoting, the product that they are promoting, and they make their money that way, right? So the question again is, what type of artist are you? Because I know artists who are not on social media. Jay-Z did not even have an Instagram account until recently. And I think that's even his team that does put whatever they put there. Kendrick Lamar only has 5 posts. That's including his albums, right? His clothing line, when he announced that he was leaving the label, his disses to Drake, and this other one, Let the Party Die, 5 posts. But he's one of the biggest touring artists in the world. So it's just a matter of perspective. Abantu was okubera ku social media is money. No, but that's not money. There's a way to make money without even playing that game. Because again, in the current era, the artist is a slave to the algorithm. But there are artists who have refused to play the game of being the slave to the algorithm, where they just reach out to their artists directly through their direct marketing, right? Or they drop a project, go on tour, make their money, and they're out. Like Kendrick Lamar Drake is always on social media. Kendrick Lamar is rarely on social media, actually, rarely posts anything. But now he's at the Super Bowl. He's the performer. Same thing as same position Drake would have been in, or will be in, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any dream collaborations, projects you've ever been like, you know what?
Yeah, of course. I've always wanted to work with Zamba. Like GNL and Zamba sitting in one studio, talking to each other, creating a dream project. That has always been my dream.
When do you think that is possibly happening?
I think it's already happened. That was a dream, so I already put it in the universe that it may come true. But anyway, seriously speaking, I was raised on Nas, so Nas will always be a special person. I like Lady Gaga and Doja Cat. Jay-Z, of course. There are very few. Kendrick. And Pusha T.
Yeah.
Even Drake. Like, I don't know, man. Like, a collaboration is a collaboration. For me, it's all about the energy. Yeah. The energy in that very space. I want to work with Ice Cube on film, you know. I want to work with Will on film. So what kind of collaboration are you talking about? Because you're talking to a multifaceted person.
Music collaboration.
I want to work with Kanye on clothes.
When it comes to music.
I mean, Pharrell Williams, you know, like that whole 9, A$AP Rocky. I want to work on clothes with those people. On this other side, I want to work with Jay on collaborations between Africa and the US. Like, there's so many dream collaborations for me. It's not just about giving you the 16s.
Yeah. Do you think you're close, or have you taken any steps towards that?
There's only 4 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
From anything. That's what Hollywood teaches you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, J. Cole visited his landlord, who believed in him when he didn't have nothing.
Okay.
He let him live rent free till he made it. So he gave him a
Rent
visit.
free in New York.
Yeah.
Akokapia.
So, do you have a relationship with your landlord then? Or?
You know what? As you were asking me that question, the reason why I find it very amazing.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman who was my landlord that I want to find him and give him a bag. Because I took that guy through Zibs. But he was so much of a parent that I don't know why he put up with me for so long. And that's the house where I wrote KOYIKOYI from, by the way. I would just like to go back, visit the space. I don't know if he's still there. Naye, I would just like to go on, because I know what that feeling is like. When you make it and then you find a person who was always asking for the rent and you don't have it. He even made it to my lyrics. Okay, I was over exaggerating. It was only 4,000. But yeah, I would like to meet that. I would like to see that clip. I haven't seen it yet, where he goes back to his landlord. Yeah. The people that believe in you always stick with you. Like the people who really, 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 really believe in you always stick with you. And such a person, I don't know what I would do. What did they do? I don't know. I have to see the clip for myself, because this reminds me so much about me hiding in the room, the guy threatening to weld me inside the it's like,
a lot was going on.
I know you're inside.
A lot was going on.
Yes.
At what level was that? Was it KOYIKOYI level or before you even...
Right before, I'm telling you, I wrote KOYIKOYI because I was locked in this room, and not locked, but like, I come back in the night, lock myself inside, and I don't get out until it's dark.
Yeah.
When he's asleep or he's like, Tulye, you get.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you just be opening like this and you hear, aha, with the manimori.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, then you give him stories and, but yeah, this is right before KOYIKOYI. But you see how much desperation leads to inspiration. Like, right in there with my mattress on the floor, I wrote the song that gave me notoriety and won me the love of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, to answer your question about J. Cole meeting his landlord, J. Cole is a master of marketing without marketing. So for you, the thing is, when you're an artist or a marketeer, you always see things from a perspective of not what everybody in the industry. So if somebody in the industry is going to read, oh, J. Cole went and met his landlord, which is a very nice thing, right? In my mind, I'm like, J. Cole, this is so on brand for him to promote his next project. Isn't it?
Yeah.
J. Cole rides through New York and meets fans and signs something. In my mind, I'm like, this is so on point for J. Cole to show that he's so with the people. J. Cole stays in North Carolina. What is he doing in New York riding bicycles? It's like so on point for him to always market things that way. But not to be a pessimist or a cynic. J. Cole trying to be... It's Joe Biden who always like criticizes him for doing stunts like this. It's like, this nigga again. Like there was a time he took a producer's beat off YouTube, freestyled over it, right? And then sent it to the guy and said, let this live over here, right? To the other dude, it's more like, whoa, millions of people are going to be listening to me, yeah, and my productions, just because this guy went out of his way for this to sit on my channel without him. It's not on the DSPs, but this is J. Cole freestyling over a beat that you made. It's like really special. Like think about, if you are a producer, he has already automatically won you, right? And he's a producer too. Not to say that it's not genuine, but you see the marketing angle in that as well. In that simplicity, like, yeah.
Yeah, well, to wind up our conversation today, how do you measure success in the music industry and what does it mean to you?
I think there is personal success and then there is the success that you want everybody to see. So what success are we defining here?
In the music industry, I would say away from your personal, but generally,
you can't take away. Okay, let me put it this way. For me, my personal success success is happiness for me.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people with obscene money who are so sad, and to me that cannot be success.
Yeah.
There are people who owe millions of, they are living in $1 million houses, but they owe millions of dollars. To me, that's not success. Success to me is a house in Malibu, a house in Mumbai, a house in Medellin, Colombia, a house in Malindi, a house in Muyenga, and a farm in Mukono. That's success to me. But the deepest level of that success is me with my son and my wife sharing breakfast,
Yeah.
no matter where.
Yeah.
Which
So
is-
in
yeah.
terms of your career, your music career.
In terms of my music career, my
Yeah.
success for me in my music career is my fans meeting the expectations or even superseding the expectations of my fans in terms of the product I give them.
Yeah.
When I meet people telling me how much they loved how I flipped a line, or how my song got them out of depression, how my song made them hustle or go through a difficult time, to me that's the ultimate success, because then my music is impactful. If you listen to Story Aluka and it made you remember to wear a condom when you are a teenager, right? If you listen to Chikufulo Musajja and thought twice about being a violent partner, if you listen to Chikankane, right, and you played this at your wedding, if I had a lyric that you used to propose, you know, yeah, I'm affecting society positively. So to me, that's the ultimate success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been good to have you.
Oh, yeah, and added to a vacation twice a year. Somewhere nice with blue water or green water.
That's what's up.
And not having to look at the right side of the menu where the prices are.
Yeah.
Sitting comfortably with your people. Yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah. Gang, Baboon Forest Entertainment.
Straight
Mr.
up.
Content Chapa Kubuli Continent or Baboon Forest Entertainment. Bompayo, just one moment. Kulagasiri, just great, but that you and I can be magnifico. Mbagala, and you'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.